Hello and welcome. This is Oil and Gas, Lesson 7, Pipes and Pipelines. For our kickoff, we need to match the names with the picture here. So we're talking about pipes and pipelines. So go ahead and pause the video. Let's do 1 through 3 here. 1 through 3. All right. So we should have paused the video, and here are the answers. Oops. Answers there. So, for example, the Chad-Cameroon pipeline in Africa is a major one. Tazama pipeline. Asia, we have the China oil pipeline that runs through Kazakhstan, right? The Baku-Tbilisi in Georgia. And then Europe, we have Pan-European pipeline. North America, we have the Portland-Montreal. Latin America, there's OCP from Ecuador, and let's say Burgos Monterrey pipeline to Mexico. So there's quite a few. All right. For the reading, again, if you want to pause the video, go ahead and draw a picture of a pipeline. What can go wrong? Draw out 3 problems. Go ahead and complete the reading in the section here, and we'll go over the answers 1 through 4. Pause the video. Okay, so what can go wrong? So not everything is perfect. We got weather, we got buildings, we got animals, we have earthquakes that can affect pipelines, right? Especially when it comes to geography. So based on the material, if it's made poorly, it can also be damaged or rust. And here's the items here for the reading. Right. So again, it can get clogged depending on the material, especially if if a part of a portion malfunctions. So they've got some brushes and things they can stick inside to clean it out there. So for example, here are some deposits that aren't supposed to be there. And if those deposits build up, then you might have to section it off, open it, clean it out, and then close it again, repair it. Okay, describing a pipeline. So match the descriptions with the numbers on the map. So I'll give you a moment to pause here, and then you can go through and answer the questions here. So this is speaking. Okay, so these are the answers you should have come up with. So for example, there are 2 straight sections joined by a flanged joint in number 1. So a joint is something that connects together, right? A flanged joint. Number 2, there are 2 pipe supports under this section. So you can see the pipe supports, those little things that are sticking out are called pipe supports. They actually stand on those, so because it's quite heavy, right? Number 3, there's a valve near a tree. A valve rotates. So you can rotate the valve to open and close and regulate the flow of the oil. So it can be really fast or really slow. Pipeline goes from south about 100 meters, then there's a tree. So they're kind of giving direction of where it's going there. The motorway here. Okay. We do have some, on page 42, some terms here. So melt means to make something a liquid as a result of heating. Ethanol is ethyl alcohol. So that's why it's ethanol, ethyl alcohol, often made from plants and then used as biofuel. It can be added to petrol gasoline. So that's usually during the refinery process. Insulate means to wrap something and prevent heat from escaping, or sound waves, or kind of waves for escaping. So that can be sound waves, that can be electric waves, that can be thermal waves, right? Energy. So it can be acoustic energy, thermal energy that's escaping. You want to keep it contained, and that's called insulation. So some of you who like Instagram, TikTok, you'll see folks with these patterns on their wall. In fact, we can look at an example. So if you soundproof a room, you usually have some kind of padding and insulation. So this is what it looks like on the wall. So those break up and collect the sound waves so you can't hear outside the room. You've probably seen this in recording studios, for example. So this room here is insulated. It has these thick pads on the wall. So insulated doesn't mean always warm. It means that you don't want the whatever energy or sound or waves inside to escape. So these cables, for example, I have a cable here where this nice cable has a certain insulation on it, this mouse cable, to contain the electric current as well. Okay. So moving on, vocabulary. So go ahead and go through the vocabulary and answer the questions here. All right, so after reading the text, what problems can arc rays cause? So they can burn you. So if you see the man, he's welding here, those arc rays, it gets to quite hot, some thousands of degrees, right? Very, very hot. So those orange sparks are a little bit cooler, so that's why they're orange. But inside those arc rays, it's the arc that's white, so white hot, very, very hot, so they can burn you. So you need your PPE, your welding helmet, to protect you. And these sparks can cause fires. And the leather gloves, the leather is very strong and it does not melt, so it can withstand those sparks and it can protect them. So you got some more PPE here that he's using. And again, go ahead and pause the video and you can do the "It's my job" and listening. Okay, so these are the answers you should have gotten for "It's my job" and listening. Okay, so we have pipe fitters, inspectors. So the pipe fitters are the ones working on the pipe. You can see he's repairing in the pipe there. You can open it up, maybe clean it out, and then close it up again. And then we have some parts here. So number 1 is C, that's a regulator. Number 2, B, valve. Number 3, A, is a gas cylinder that contains the chemicals that are inside. 4, E, a cart, and 5, D, cylinder cap. Okay, let's move on. So for number 2 and number 3, we have to do some matching here. So quite a few. In fact, we'll just do this whole page. So we're talking about signs and warnings. So remember in the last unit, we talked about some signs and warnings. Be careful, watch your step. We have some hazards. So go ahead and do all of these, 2 through 5, and then we'll do pronunciation. So pause the video and complete the activities here. Okay, let's look at our answers. So number 1, don't drop the cylinder. So you can see the cylinder falling there. Remember, our yellow outlines are hazards that we should watch out for with black outline. And then, for example, this could explode, number 4, C, etc. So we can take some precautions. So for example, number 1, well dry instead of wet. Number 2, always move it safely. These gas cylinders, for example. B, for example, number 4, no pockets. And then listen again, the pieces of safety equipment. This is for the listening equipment you hear. And these are them. So the man is actually wearing a welding jacket in this picture here, and he has gloves on. So make sure to keep your workspace tidy, keep everything in its place. Remember, no loose clothing, protect your eyes for safety. And then they have some more PPE here. Right. And then we do have a language spot for grammar. And again, you can reference page 121 for your answers there. Okay, then finally we have number 2 here and 3. You can again pause the video to complete these, filling in information. Okay, and this is your answers you should have gotten for those. So some of these are countable and not. So for example, steam and information, you can't count steams and information, so those are uncountable. And of course, shops and brushes are. Chemicals that are singular, gases, liquids, those are going to be uncountable as well. All right, let's move to number talk. Circumference. We have diameter, the outside diameter they're talking about in this photo here. Inside diameter, that's how wide something is, the diameter. For example, if your eyes dilate, they get wider. Thickness, length, and then radius. Radius is the halfway point in a circle. So if this is 90 centimeters here, the radius would be 45 inside. The distance from the center to the edge of the circle. All right, then you can work through the length times width times height. Remember, that's volume. We went over that last time. We have another volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times L. So volume equals pi, the number pi, 3.14, times the radius squared times the length. In cylindrical forms. Finally, we have our reading. So again, you can go ahead and pause the video and do the reading, number 1 and 2. Isometrics and MTOs. So special piping drawing called isometrics. These are like schematics of where the pipes are going to go. And MTOs, material takeoff, which is a list of material and parts for the pipeline. And this is what it looks like. All right, and these will be your answers here. So forms, again, this is great practice, even though if you're going to go into this field with filling out a form. Number 1 is parts. We have elbows. Elbows are like this, like your elbow. So it kind of turns. A valve is something that opens and closes. Remember, regulates the flow of oil. And again, here we have our keywords. If you have any questions, you can go to the glossary in the back of the book. Remember, to keep these, make sure everything's okay, we need to keep these inspected, these pipelines. So they're regularly inspected, making sure they're cleared of debris, and making sure they're working properly so we don't have any accidents. All right, thank you very much. Again, if you have any questions, please message Mr. Kelvin, your course instructor. Thank you.